Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? The vision boards, the daily affirmations, pushing yourself harder every day and yet nothing seems to shift? Like you're yelling into the universe and all you hear back is silence? Here's the part no one talks about. What if the silence isn't failure, but a doorway? You're not alone. We live in a world that constantly tells us to hustle, to do more, manifest more, fix more. We're taught that effort equals worth, and that the louder we shout our desires, the faster life will respond. But what if it's the trying that's keeping you stuck? Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, offered a perspective that turns modern self help on its head. He said, "What you resist persists, what you force fractures." That's not just poetic, it's psychological truth. When we fight reality, when we push against our own internal state, we don't create flow, we create resistance. And resistance isn't strength, it's friction. It's the reason you feel burned out, exhausted, and disconnected from your deeper self. Jung believed that real change doesn't start with effort, it begins with surrender, with learning to pause, to listen, to stop trying to control every outcome and instead align with what life is already trying to show us. This isn't about giving up, it's about tuning in, because maybe the clarity you've been chasing is quietly waiting beneath all the noise. So ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped pushing and simply allowed? Let's go deeper. So here's something most self-help books never tell you. Change doesn't start by forcing your life to look different. It begins when you align with what's already true inside you. Carl Jung had a way of explaining this that cut straight through the noise. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate. Let that sink in. You can say, "I want love," every single day. You can journal it, visualize it, chant it at the moon. But if there's a deeper part of you that believes you're unworthy of being loved, the world will mirror that. Not your words, but your energy. It's like trying to plant seeds on rocky ground. The surface looks fine, but underneath, there's no room to grow. I've seen this play out in my own life. Relationships that didn't work, opportunities that never landed. I used to think I was just unlucky, but really I was out of sync with myself. My conscious desires and my unconscious beliefs were in a quiet war, and the unconscious always wins. Jung's work reminds us that healing isn't about adding more effort, more goals, more self-improvement. It's about noticing where we're split inside and gently coming back into wholeness. So instead of asking, "How can I get what I want?" try asking, "What part of me doesn't believe I deserve it?" That's where the real shift begins, not with striving, but with inner honesty. And that honesty? Let's keep going. Have you ever felt like life keeps giving you the opposite of what you ask for? You say you want peace, but your days are filled with chaos. You pray for love, but all you get is distance. It's frustrating, it's confusing, and it makes you wonder, am I doing something wrong? But here's a perspective most of us were never taught. The universe isn't withholding from you, it's mirroring you. It responds not to what you say, but to the energy you carry. You can speak affirmations all day long. You can say, "I am safe, I am loved, I am ready." But if your nervous system is still in survival mode, if you're filled with fear, doubt, or shame, then that's the signal life is picking up on. Energy always speaks louder than words. This isn't punishment, it's reflection. And reflection is brutally honest. You can't fake wholeness. You can't pretend your way into peace. That's why true transformation isn't about mental effort. It's about energetic alignment. When your body, your mind, and your soul are in harmony, life begins to match that frequency. It feels different, lighter, calmer, more open. I've experienced this myself. The more I tried to force outcomes, the more resistance I hit. But when I finally sat with my fear, when I allowed myself to just feel, something softened, and everything around me began to shift without me having to push. So ask yourself, Is the energy I'm putting out aligned with what I say I want? Because the universe isn't judging you, it's just reflecting you, moment by moment. Let's go deeper. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. I know, that sounds strange, especially in a world that worships action. We've been taught that movement equals progress, that stillness means we're falling behind. But what if stillness isn't the absence of progress, but the beginning of real transformation? Because stillness isn't nothing, it's the beginning of everything. So you've let go. You've surrendered the fight. You're no longer trying to force your way forward. And then, nothing happens. No lightning bolts, no sudden breakthrough, just silence. This moment, right here, is what Carl Jung would call the creative void. And while it may feel empty, meaningless even, it's actually one of the most powerful phases of your inner transformation. It's not stagnation, it's incubation. In this space, your ego, the part of you that always needs to control, fix, achieve, starts to lose its grip. And in that quiet, your deeper self, your soul, begins to rise. But here's the catch. Most people run from the void. They panic. They think, nothing's changing. I must be doing something wrong. So they rush back into effort, back into noise, and interrupt the very process that was trying to reshape them. Think of it like a seed underground. From the outside, it looks like nothing's happening. But below the surface, something sacred is taking place. Roots are forming. Foundations are being built. The creative void is that same space for your psyche. It's uncomfortable, it's slow, but it's holy. It's where the old parts of you fall away, and space is made for the new. So, if you're in that stillness right now, don't rush, don't run. Trust the silence. Because what's being formed in the dark is who you were always meant to become. What if healing isn't about becoming someone new, but about remembering who you've always been? I know, it sounds simple. But in a world that constantly tells you to upgrade, improve, hustle, become better, it's easy to forget that your worth was never something you had to earn in the first place. Your authentic self, the one that's whole, wise, grounded, isn't gone. It's just buried. Buried under years of conditioning, layers of fear, and the shame you were taught to carry. Somewhere along the way, you started to believe that love was something to chase, that peace had to be achieved, that abundance was a reward for doing everything right. But Carl Jung and so many spiritual traditions remind us of this. You're not here to become more. You're here to remember more deeply who you already are. The things you've been trying to manifest, love, healing, clarity, they're not outside of you. They're not something you earn by trying harder. They are frequencies that already live within you, waiting, resting, ready. So the shift is not about striving, it's about resonance. Can you let go of trying to get the life you want and allow it to find you through your alignment? Sometimes the most powerful transformation happens not when you move forward, but when you finally become still enough for your truest self to catch up to you. We've been told our whole lives that we have to earn our worth, work harder, be better, do more. But what if I told you the real journey isn't about striving for worthiness? It's about remembering that you've always been worthy. That's the shift. Not from broken to healed, not from lost to found, but from efforting to being. You don't need to prove anything to the universe. You don't have to chase validation or push through one more self-help checklist. Because the truth is, alignment doesn't come through effort. It arrives in remembrance. When the mind finally grows quiet, when the spinning, doubting, fixing slows down, something beautiful begins to rise. The voice beneath the noise, the heart. And what it whispers is simple. You already are what you've been seeking. Think about that for a second. You're not trying to become love. You are love. You're not manifesting abundance. You carry abundance. You're not finding worth. You embody it. So the next time you feel like you're falling behind, Pause. Ask yourself, am I chasing something I already am? Because when you finally stop running, life catches up. And in that moment, you don't just feel aligned, you remember who you've been all along. So here's the truth we often overlook: transformation doesn't begin when life hands you something new. It begins the moment you see yourself clearly, not through the lens of your fears, not through the filter of your past, but through the quiet knowing that you've always been more than enough. Reality isn't just happening to you, it's being shaped every day by the version of yourself you choose to remember and embody. The more aligned you are on the inside, the more life starts to reflect that alignment on the outside. It's not magic, it's resonance. And maybe the most radical act of change is choosing stillness over struggle, letting go of the chase, stepping away from the noise, and trusting that who you are, beneath the effort, beneath the fear, is already whole. So if something inside you felt seen today, if this message stirred something deeper, I invite you to make a choice, not just silently, but openly. Drop a comment below that says, I choose alignment, not because you need fixing, but because you're ready to remember. And always keep this with you. Sometimes the most powerful step forward is the one where you finally stop running, where you do nothing. And in doing nothing, everything begins to change.